Arts and Culture Minister Zwakala has slammed the political advertisement by the Democratic Alliance, which shows the burning of the South African flag. In a statement, Zwakala says the flag will not be used as an instrument to sow division and hysteria in the country. The advert has received a mixed reaction on social media, with some users suggesting that the campaign was a bit extreme. For more on this, let's now bring in Dr. M.K. Zwakala, who's a political brand analyst from the Peninsula University of Technology. Dr. Zwakala, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. I know the importance of marketing, the importance of an advert, and as one of the Democratic Alliance councillors has said, that at least we are having the conversation about the advert. But is there such a thing as going too far when it comes to portraying a message and capturing the imagination of your audience?
Morning, Aldrin. Morning to viewers. Yeah, look, this is totally unacceptable. It's the highest form of treason. Even in our space now, brand marketing space, this is totally unacceptable. And what's quite ironic, it comes from a party with a history of sowing divisions based on race, relatedness, race resonance. So I'm saying even in the space of brand marketing, this is unacceptable and quite deliberate, Aldrin. I mean, this comes at the 30th anniversary of our democracy. And the banning of a flag, definitely, even in an advertisement, is quite disturbing. And what's even more disturbing is that the Democratic Alliance will just get a slap on the wrist, and they should be held to account. They should pay some veil for this. I'm saying again, there's a very good Afrikaans description of this. It's a hoogverraad. It's the highest form of treason. It's treasonous, it's unacceptable, it's divisive, and it erodes the gains of democracy.
Yeah. Why do you make that argument when they are arguing that this is not a literal burning of the flag? It is a depiction, and they're trying to send a message that if you do not save South Africa from the so-called coalition of doomsday, that South Africa would actually burn.
Yeah, look, it's the problem South Africans are making, South Africans outside the DA brand, Aldrin, is that they want the DA, people want the DA to be what the DA is not, and probably what the DA does not want to be. As I'm saying again, this is very deliberate. It's got nothing to do with an election campaign. It undermines democracy. It undermines the national flag. As I'm saying again, even in the space of an election environment, the space of putting out political branding out there, this is very offensive, and I think it should be treated as such.
Are there any rules of engagement when you teach your marketing students and so forth when it comes to advertisements like in this particular case, an advertisement that also has the burning of a South African flag or a country's national flag? Are there limitations that say that this is how far you can go and you can't go any further than this? Because I imagine that the Democratic Alliance would have been in touch with their campaign brand managers.
Yeah, look, marketing is applied differently in different contexts, Aldrin. So a marketing campaign that you would run, for instance, in Germany, right, with the Germans and their history and the Holocaust and would be different to a marketing campaign you'd be running in the States. So it is definitely different with the marketing campaign that you'd be running in a South African context with a very, very recent history of racial divisions, apartheid history, which its consequences are still quite prevalent in our society. So yes, we belong to the same school, but where we apply our speciality, we apply differently depending on those different contexts and different markets. And in this case, again, with where we come from, just over 30 years ago, it's quite insensitive, and I've got all the belief. I mean, if you sit, around with a campaign team, people that you believe know something about marketing, people that you believe are quite conscious of who we are as a country, and they all agree. They sit in one room. They all agree that the banning of the national flag would cause a discussion. I think they will definitely shed votes for this particular campaign.
Yeah, context very important. Also, the nature of the political history of a country, and specifically a country like South Africa. Remember back in 2016, was it 2021? Yeah, the 2021 local government election campaign. The Democratic Alliance came up with posters that read, "The ANC called you racist, the DA calls you heroes," and these were, of course, in response to what had happened in Phoenix during the July unrest, where people were actually being racially profiled. The DA initially defended that stance. It defended the stance. It said that this is the right campaign to go ahead with. And then later on, they buckled under pressure and they removed the advertisements. But I just quickly want to read here what the chairperson of the Democratic Alliance in KwaZulu-Natal had said, because they had a meeting. He says that the DA is a party of non-racialism, and it was never my intention to cause any other perception. I remain steadfastly committed to all people of South Africa, united in our diversity, and our campaign will continue to show that only the DA can and will get things done. So there is the apology that comes, there is the context to this and why it could be hurtful, and then there is, of course, the apology that follows. But I don't know whether the Democratic Alliance would have learned from moments like that, considering what is now played out. And this is a national campaign. So the national executive of the Democratic Alliance would have been involved in this and endorsed it and said, yeah, go ahead. This is the campaign that we're going ahead with.
The DA is quite biased that they're contesting in a democratic system, where it's the majority of the people that will determine whether they occupy office or not. And unfortunately for them, majority of the people are outside of the DA, right? Majority of South Africans do not relate to what the DA perceptually seems to stand for, right? Now, they are caught, there is something they're caught in a quagmire. They've got an identity crisis internally, right? So on the one hand, they want to defend who they inherently are. I suspect who they are historically are. However, they need the majority, majority diverse population out there to determine whether they occupy the governance office or not. So there is something, it's an identity crisis that they want to protect and preserve a certain history, a certain economy. However, this needs to be determined by the people out there. So they say the one thing. So I strongly believe, Aldrin, again, this is intentional, this is deliberate. And I'm saying again, South Africans should not make the mistake of believing, of wishing the DA was a particular party, whereas the DA is being the DA.
Yeah, it's consistently showing us that this is what the Democratic Alliance is, and this is what the Democratic Alliance stands for. Earlier on, you said that they should be held accountable. How do you hold a political party accountable heading into the election? And of course, as I said earlier on, that we are having a conversation about their advertisement. So the publicity that they get out of this as well, the mileage.
How do you hold them accountable? Certainly, I'm not a legal expert, Aldrin. Certainly, some law agencies should be looking into it. There's definitely transparency. Are they getting mileage? I think it's the other way around. The DA will definitely, not only for this reason, but I think sensing the environment out there, they're definitely one of the few parties that will be decreasing, especially because of this. The undecided voter, Aldrin, that believes in South Africa and its diversity, would have been offended by this. Even that undecided voter that would have wanted to perhaps align with the DA, this will definitely have been the consequence will be dire. We'll talk after the 29th of May.
Yeah. We're running a snap poll as we normally do in the morning, and it is in relation to this particular saga and the response that has come from the Minister of Arts and Culture. But at least 10% of the people that have voted so far are saying that people are overreacting. So there is a cohort of individuals that actually do believe that the DA's message has hit the right notes and people are overreacting.
I've been listening, Aldrin, social media, radio this morning. I've been listening to that very minute sect of society that believes that everyone is overreacting. And I'll leave this to you, Aldrin. Note who is agreeing with this appalling ad by the DA. It's quite ironic. especially against where we come from. Look and listen at the people that are supporting this hogwash, essentially.
Yeah. Tell me about what you make of the campaigns in general of the political parties that have released and started their campaigns, but also those that have advertisement that have been on television so far. Any that stand out for you?
Yeah, look, the big parties have shown up, Aldrin. I've noted the ruling party, they've gone back to what we call in brand marketing original sources of equity or value. You know, they went and they fetched their stalwarts that we've not seen for quite some time. That's what brands do. You know, when you are cornered, what are your original sources of equity? Now, this could be people, this could be policies. And on the other hand, there's quite a breath of fresh air as far as a brand is concerned. Visually, something we refer to as visual identity, your Rise Mzansi, quite a breath of fresh air as far as brand is concerned. Whether they'll get any votes, I don't know. Bosa, I think Musmaiman has been able to position his party. And the usual suspect again, I think, what's his name? The Action South Africa guy.
Herman Mashaba.
Herman Mashaba. He's doing groundwork. Don't underestimate Herman Mashaba's brand. He's doing groundwork. He's doing door-to-door. He will definitely snatch votes. And on the other extreme, and then we've got parties that I think won't take us forward, Aldrin, because we don't want parties that garner support based on race, based on tribe. That is very regressive. Again, context is quite important here. So if you garner support based on race, we don't need to in our democracy. Based on tribe, we don't need to in our democracy.
Yeah. Speaking about that, and speaking about Action SA, one of their campaign adverts focuses specifically on immigration, which is a specific demographic that you're focusing on. It says that illegal immigrants have flooded South Africa. It's a concern that has been raised by a number of South Africans. But it also speaks to that issue around fear, isn't it? That you need to make sure that you protect the borders of the country, because there's that fear that comes from having an increased number of undocumented foreign nationals in the country.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is still a topic. Law agencies should be acting. They should have acted over a decade ago or two. This should not even be a debate. Illegal people in the country should be deported. Whether you come from Asia, whether you come from East Africa or the States, if South Africans that are illegal in other countries should be deported back to South Africa. So we've got limited resources, Aldrin. We're contesting for limited resources, especially as far as service delivery issues are concerned. So the Action SA has got a point, and 2 or 3 other parties. Someone gave me an analogy, Aldrin, say, would the same political party leaders that advocating for open borders, they still live in gated houses, okay? Open your house if you don't believe in borders, okay? Let the community come share your television with your kids. Let the community come share your resources with your kids. That's essentially the effect of porous borders. We're open to everyone, and we're the only country that is porous. And our resources, I'm saying again, are limited. So Action SA has definitely got a point, and other parties that I'm saying again, this should not even be a discussion. If you are illegal in the country, you should be deported. If you are bringing skill, you are legal, you are more than welcome. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know about South Africa being the only country with porous borders, because this is it's a global issue. The Europeans are dealing with the same problem, as well as the United States. But thank you so much for your time, Dr. M.K. Zwakala, who's a political brand analyst. And I have to say the campaigns also of the ANC, where they depict, for instance, all of the construction that has been happening over the couple of years, and also the introduction of the Gautrain, and you compared that to the EFF's election campaign advert, where they are using clips actually from news bulletins, actual news bulletins, to form part of the message that they're trying to portray and save South Africa. I would love to hear your views as well on some of the campaigns of these political parties at Newsroom 405.